Hey, I'm John Hine with Mossy Oak Graphics. I'm going to show you how easy it is to wrap an ATV or side-by-side UTV vehicle. First, what you want to do is take your power washer, your hose, and just clean all the mud off of it. This one's still got a little bit of dirt and grime left on it. We're going to start by cleaning the surface really well with some alcohol, like isopropyl alcohol. I'm going to take some alcohol here and wipe down this area really good. Make sure you get into all the grooves and the recesses down in these hoods. You can even open some of these compartments up. Make sure you clean down inside of all the edges really well. Main thing is to get this area all clean. Make sure you get all the dirt and debris off of here. So just do a really thorough job of cleaning all these areas. When you open up your kit, you're going to get 4 feet wide by either 10 feet, 12 feet of material, depending on whether you get an ATV or UTV kit. That material is plenty to cover your vehicle. So if for some reason you need more, you can always order more of it by the linear foot. Clean this real good, and then we're going to start the application process. Now once you've got this area cleaned off real well, I've already wiped the whole thing down. What you want to do is take the primer 94 and go around the perimeter and the edges of all these pieces. And what that'll do is, the vinyl holds about 5.5 pounds per square inch, and wherever you put this primer, it'll hold about double that. Now this is just a clear liquid. Just need a little tiny brush and just go ahead and just paint it around the edges of it. It'll just dry shortly. It won't take but a minute or two for it to dry. And once it's dry, you can go ahead and apply your camouflage. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. And we're just going to paint a light coat of it around the edges of the pieces. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the sides, and I'm going to work my way up to the top, and basically the pieces are going to overlap kind of like shingles on a roof. So where the first piece is going to come up, and since we have this roll bar here, we're going to come up to just on the other side of the roll bar, and then we'll go ahead and do a second piece to cover the hood, and then we'll do a main piece that goes right down the center of the hood here. We've pre-cut our piece. And what you want to think about when you're doing an ATV or UTV, you want to think about sections of this where you can do it in different sections. So like if you're doing an ATV, just think about the fenders as separate pieces, and then the top is a separate piece. And what I always tell everybody is that, don't worry about the seams, because it's just like the shirt, your camouflage shirt. The pattern doesn't match wherever your seams are on there, and it'll look fine once you're done. So don't try to do the entire thing in one huge piece. Go ahead and break this down into smaller sections. So we're going to do basically this area in here up to the roll bar with this section here. I basically measured it, cut it out, and now we're ready. I've applied all the primer around the edges here, gave it a chance to set up and cool down a little bit and dry out. And now once this is dry, it's a little bit tacky, and we're going to go ahead and apply this piece of vinyl here to that side. So what you want to do is just start by peeling the backing off, exposing the adhesive here, and you're ready to apply your vinyl. Now the beauty of this vinyl is that you can put it down and pick it up as much as you want. So if you stick it on here, kind of apply it to the center here where it's the smooth and flattest. And once you get it on there, if it's not where you want it, just lift it back off and do it again. So the nice thing about this stuff is it's workable. So give yourself a little bit of room, when you're cutting the piece, leave yourself a little bit of extra. Go ahead and make sure you've got it, where it'll fit on all your edges. And then go ahead and just take your squeegee here. The squeegee comes with the material. Just take your squeegee and just start working this material all the way to the edges. Now if you come to an area here where you get a wrinkle, just back it up and start over again. And once you get this material down, then you can come back and trim it all off. So we're just right down here to the fenders. We're going to go around these fenders. Even if it folds under like that and sticks to itself, you can pull it back off. So we're going to run this all the way around this smooth fender right here. You can see there's an air bubble underneath here. I'll just pull this back off, redo that, get that air bubble out from underneath there. Now you can, if you come back later and you find that there's an air bubble trapped underneath there and you don't want to go back and pull that piece off, you can always take a straight pin and put a couple holes in it and push that air right through that vinyl. Won't hurt a thing. So we've got this all set. Down here where it makes this curve around this fender flare, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to use a little bit of heat. And I'm going to heat this up so it'll make that curve around there without causing any wrinkles. We'll take your heat gun and just warm this area up. And once that vinyl is warm, heated up just slightly, it gets a lot softer. And then you can work with your squeegee and it'll conform right around the curve of that fender. Then again, just run your heat right along the edge of that fender. Just take your squeegee here and just shove it in right to the edges. The other thing you can also do, you don't want to overstretch the material. You can always go back and kind of unstick it from the fender and then tuck it down in there. Get that down in there nice and tight. Now you've already put your primer down first. Will help lock that edge down permanently. The other beauty is you can always come back and remove any of this vinyl when you want to later. You can clean off any little bit of residue that's left on there from the primer with some alcohol. But most people that are doing the ATV, they're looking to put it on there to stay. So I highly recommend the primer for that application. So you can see the outline where this material is taking shape to the fender. Now you can see we're going to go up here and I'm going to split this and we're going to wrap around this roll cage here, and then we're going to come back with a separate piece for up here on the top of the hood. Alright, we're going to go ahead and trim all these edges out. So we're going to come right in here with your X-Acto knife. You can use a utility knife, anything with a nice sharp edge to it, and just follow that edge of that fender flare around. Now if you're doing an ATV or something that doesn't have fender flares, just go ahead and trim it out to the edge of the plastic. Just pull this piece right off. Go ahead and take your squeegee and push that edge down real good. Now we're ready to go up here and we're going to go around this piece, this roll cage, so we're just going to split that so that we can go ahead and roll our vinyl on around there. Like I said, at any time if you get a wrinkle in the material, just stop, pull it back up to where the wrinkle started, and just start over again. You can always use a little heat with the material where it starts to contour down. You can see where this fender kind of starts rolling down. You may end up with you want to wrinkle a little bit right in there. Just put a little heat on it. That'll soften that material and then it'll conform right around that curve. Go ahead and put a little more heat on it. I'm going to roll this vinyl right up into that seam there, and then we'll come back with our other piece. Of course, we've already got our primer down. We'll cut this just a little bit further here. We're going to roll this on down. There's a few wrinkles right here. I'm going to back this up, redo it again, Make sure that I don't have any wrinkles in it. Looks like I got a helper here. We'll just roll this, push this vinyl right up into that seam there where we've already put our primer. Then we can come back and trim that off, and we'll come back with our other piece here on the hood. We'll trim off this extra. Go ahead and push this in here, and you can see now, you know, when we're in here trimming, you can see now why you have to get every little nook and cranny, because we're going to tuck this vinyl into all these little corners. So making in here with a couple pieces, and as you can see, there's some overlaps in here, and I've trimmed around here. There was even one spot back here where it didn't quite cover, but I went ahead and took a small piece and covered in there. The main thing is that you just get everything covered and laying smooth. So you get a little air bubble like that, just go ahead and put a little hole in it and push it on out. And then what you want to do is what we call post heat. And what you're doing is after you put this on, you apply heat to it, and that creates like a new memory for this vinyl. So you put heat to it and then firm pressure with your squeegee. Now you can do this, you know, after the entire project's done, but down in these recessed areas, it's very important to put heat in there and then push on it really firmly. Sometimes your finger works as well as anything to get in there around those little nooks and crannies. But the post-heat process is something that you don't want to skip. So I'll come along and I'll heat this all up really well, and then go back with the squeegee and push it all down really firm all the way around. Something you may want to do after you get completely finished with the project. Go ahead and do this post-heat on there. You just take your time and get it good and warm. Now to apply this material, you want the temperature between about 55 and 90 degrees. So if you're doing it in the winter time, get it inside like we are. You know, make sure you put some heat in here to get the temperature to where you need it. Obviously in the summertime, if it's really, really hot, don't do it out in the sun when it's over 90 degrees. Find yourself a shady spot where it's not quite as warm. So we've got this all done. We're going to trim around the back here where it rolls over into the console, and then we'll be ready to start our next piece here. Now when we overlap, it doesn't really matter if we overlap a little or a lot. So our next piece may come down, you know, all the way into here and overlap all of this, but it doesn't matter. With this vinyl, it can overlap as little as 1/8 of an inch or as much as you'd like. But the beauty of the camouflage is, you know, wherever the seams are, it just disappears. One piece does from the next.